Group Station, official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Good morning. Thought I'd help you wake up.
It's 6 a.m. and you're listening to The John Kincade Show, Philadelphia's longest-running sports talk morning show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Let the party begin!
The show starts now.
What a difference a day makes. Pat was smiling this morning. Everybody's got a little giddy up going on. Okay, we're recovering. Pat's giving me a dirty look. I swear I saw a smile on your face this morning at one point. No? So we're rocking and rolling today, day after the moratorium, day of recovery. Hopefully we're all doing a little bit better. This is the John Kincade Show. Bob Cooney, Devon Givens, the aforementioned Pat Egan, Coach Eric Camille. We got Haley on the YouTube. Connor's back there answering phones. We heard from John yesterday, doing well after surgery. Sent me a text already this morning saying they woke him up to draw some blood and do some things and all that, okay. But says he's doing well, and he thanks everybody for all the well wishes.
Good.
So, yeah.
He's resting well.
Exactly. So, how was your day yesterday? Like we get through here.
Yes.
We get through all the talk and agony of what Sunday was.
Yep.
I don't know. What do you do? Do you reflect on it more? Do you let it go? Do you? Well, I almost rewatched the first half last night.
Did you?
Almost.
I had no interest. I have no interest. I had no interest yesterday. I have no interest right now to do it after we leave here this morning. So, no. What was my day like? You know what? I went and got the car washed like I told you I would.
Yeah.
Went and got the car washed, took care of that, went home, relaxed, had some lunch, sat on the couch, and I think that was a mistake. Since I'm so used to waking up whatever
later.
time.
Later than you have to this week.
Yeah. I got comfortable, turned the television on, listened to Anthony a little bit. The next thing I know, Bob, I'm like, what time is it? Took a nap.
Did you?
I took the nap.
All right.
So how do you guys do it?
It depends. You know, sometimes the nap is key.
Yep. I know Pat mastered the nap.
Pat's a nap master.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
I like a nap.
You take long naps, too. Because you don't sleep that much. You do so many things at night.
Yeah. I kind of piecemeal together 7 hours between the nap and actually sleeping.
Okay. I would say that's probably about me because I sleep on average maybe 5 a night.
Okay.
And then I'll take like an hour nap in the afternoon. But I fought it for like 3 years. Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
I was fighting it, and then I said, all right, let me set my alarm.
Yeah.
And I set it for an hour. Just for an hour. I set it for a certain time. If I did fall asleep, I'm getting up at that time. So there was no set time. Oh, let me take a nap. No. If I fall asleep because I'm too comfortable and now I'm too lazy to get up because everything else was done.
Right.
And I wound up dozing off a little bit.
It's the question we get a lot. Like, what time do you get up? That's the first question. I tell people 3:30, and they're like, well, when did you get used to doing that? I said, you don't. Yeah. You just have to do it. All right, speaking of questions, we got a morning mind bender, Devon. And today's is, according to a new survey by Apollon Apps, the average American does this 3 times every morning. What is it?
Yawn.
3 times every morning. Ooh, I'm going to say what's it say, the average American? I'll say hit the snooze button. What do you got, Pat?
I'll say curse.
Get the out of
probably
here.
drop the F word a few times.
From having to wake up?
Yeah, like, fudge.
Yeah.
That's not bad either. Coach, what do we got?
Devon? You're not right.
Ah, man.
You're a jerk, dude.
Yeah.
He really is.
I did think I was going to get that one.
Bob, you're spot on, man. Hit the snooze button. 3 times. Seems a little odd to me that you would hit it 3 times. So what do? If you have to get up at, 8 o'clock or 7:30, do you set the alarm for 7 and then the snooze goes on 3 times at 10 minutes each?
Are you a snooze button guy, Devon?
Yeah, I am.
Are you?
Yeah. So
That surprises me.
I have about four of them set. They're like 5-10 minutes apart. Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. There's your snooze.
So
3 times.
we will get to sports, I swear to God, people.
At some point.
I do not I would say in the 5, close to 6 years I've been working here, getting up at real early in the morning, I have only woken up to my alarm maybe 7 times. I wake up before my alarm even goes off. I can't hit a snooze because I don't. My biggest thing is just put your feet on the floor.
Okay.
Howard Stern said that years ago. He's like, when you got to get up, just put your feet on the floor. And then you're ready to go. Pat, you have a couple of alarms set, don't you? Was that you? No?
No, I only have the one.
It might have been Jamie that had a whole bunch of different ones.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with the one that I have. I think I've never slept through it. The only time I've ever been late because of the alarm is if I make the mistake of doing AM and PM.
Oh, yeah, that would suck.
So that happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's right there. You're setting the time part, and then the AM, PM, you never know. Your finger slides over or whatever, and next thing you know, you're on PM and you don't know it.
Like, I have a bunch of alarms set throughout the day. It's just a matter of if they're on or not. So if I have to get up for something at night, I'll have it set. And I probably should delete the one that is the PM version of my AM. For example, like 4:30 a.m. and then 4:30 p.m.
Right.
I probably should delete the 4:30 p.m.
You probably should.
Because sometimes in a moment of weakness, I turn on the 4:30 p.m. That's alarm talk here on the Jock and Kid
Yeah.
show.
All right.
Well, it's early enough.
I
Might as well talk about
I think it was a nice distraction from what we probably will end up talking about.
Yeah, well, there are some things that we probably need to hit on. And throughout the show, we have a lot of great things coming up. Ramona Shelbourne came out with a spicy little item last night. Devon's going to hit on that in a little bit. Obviously, reaction still a day after, now that we're calmer. Now, Pat, did I misread your face this morning? I thought there was a tinge of a smile.
No, not really.
No? It's still hurting today?
Yeah, I'm still broken inside.
I hate that.
The realization that this team has lost me for a calendar year. Like, I'm out for a year.
You're not. So what does that mean? You're out for a year? You
I'm
don't
fully
follow.
embracing
You
to
won't
get me to the second round. I'm done.
Regular season's
The
done.
regular season doesn't matter. I don't care.
Huh?
I know. I'm losing. I mean,
You're not
both
alone,
of you
though.
guys, but like, they've broken me to the point where I'm done investing so much time in them for them to constantly let me down. It has been a lifetime of just dreck from this basketball franchise. So they can wake me up, they can knock on my door, they can set the alarm when they actually finally produce.
Well, how about not produce? How about change? How about if this is an off season of different things happening?
Yeah, they've done that.
Okay, but that still won't bring you back at all.
No.
How about that?
They've done that.
Would you think?
I'm the guy that's been cheated on the girl 27 times and welcomed her back, and finally I'm like, no, I'm like, you haven't changed at all.
Do you think Pat's an extremist in this aspect, Devon, or do you know a lot of people out there that are like him right now?
Yeah, before right now.
Really?
Yeah,
they were out before.
During the season, I would ask people to stop as I fast forwarding the season, because wake me up when we get to May. Wake me up then. Get me past the second round. And that's where a lot of people were. And I'm not surprised that Pat is this. I'm a little surprised Pat's there. But then there are some others that, they waited for something like this to say, number one, I told you so. And number two, this is why the regular season does not matter, because here we are again with this franchise in particular, because this is who they follow, that they've conditioned themselves now to have to be this way to protect their feelings.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy part. The regular season does matter for every team not named the Sixers. Because the regular season is probably the most important in all of sports in terms of like the NFL, NHL, and Major League Baseball. Because we've seen in those sports a wild card team, and it happens pretty frequently, a wild card team goes off and wins and does damage in the playoffs. And I know this is a bad year to pick it because there's an 8 seed in the Eastern Conference Finals, but for the most part, you have to be a top 3 seed to contend, except when it comes to the Sixers. Because I've seen this team fail to get out of the second round just about in terms of every seed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't matter. So for the regular season does matter in the NBA for every team but one.
Now, it just takes a little something for me to turn around. To, as disappointed as we all are, and I hit the spot where Pat is a little bit on Sunday of, you know what, I don't need to see a red, white, and blue basketball uniform run up and down the floor anytime soon. But Now, we were going to do this a little bit later in the show, Devon, but you brought it up as one of your subjects, and I want to jump to it now. Ramona Shelbourne came out with a little something yesterday.
Yeah.
And it intrigued me, and it probably shouldn't, and I look at things differently. All I need sometimes is a little change, and I'll be back in. But talk about what she had to say and what maybe your feelings are on it.
So
I'm sorry. Yeah, let's play what she said. I'm sorry.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's start with the decision. Do you want to move forward with James Harden and Joel Embiid as your pairing? Is this your superstar pairing moving forward? Because James Harden can become a free agent, which means that you have to decide if you want to give him a 4-year contract. And that decision, from what I understand, also now becomes tied to the decision about Doc Rivers, because James Harden was not all that supportive of Doc Rivers in his press conference yesterday. I think behind the scenes, from what I told, that one person said to me, it'd be hard for me to see James wanting to come back and play for Doc again. This is going to be a situation where those two decisions are linked. And as we go forward into this, you have to decide if you want to lock in your future around those two guys. And then if you're doing that, what does that mean for Doc Rivers? Because the decisions seem to be linked.
Very interesting.
Yes.
On ESPN, I think it was NBA Today with Malik Andrews' show. And the thing is, number one, not surprised, because Harden felt that way after the half a season that he was here about Doc Rivers with some of the things. You know, you just hear stuff, you're around it, you hear stuff too. And I was like, okay, I was, all right, I expected this. And there was one video I remember where it was circulating around social media, and you can always pick these things apart, but for some reason, someone isolated this one thing where James Harden was kind of, you know, like, with sitting on the bench where Doc was drawing up something on the board. And on the clipboard, and I was like, okay, I'll just keep that in mind, but we'll keep going. That doesn't surprise me, but the problem is, who are you to make that decision based on what you just did in the final 2 games, elimination games, of you making a decision to come back here while it is an important decision for the future of the 76ers? Who are you to come in and make that type of demand after that? How do I know that you're going to be, just because, I don't know, Monty Williams comes in here, that you're going to feel any different? You might feel the same way about Monty Williams once we get to game 87 and feel the same way about him where you're rolling your eyes. Guess what? It doesn't matter how you feel about the coach, because in that moment of game 5 and then playing well and then going into game number 6 at home where you didn't seem like you were all that interested in it, you're supposed to play for your teammates then, or yourself, or the city.
Big one, yeah.
Right. And I don't know that the coach part got in the way of, you didn't like a play call, you didn't like the direction, or you didn't like the game plan for that night, that, I'm just not all that into it. So I don't like that, because you didn't do anything, even at the age of 33, to have that type of cachet. I don't care what your history says. You don't have that type of cachet to make that type of decision about Doc Rivers' future.
No, and there's been a little dumping on Doc Rivers, I would say. J.J. Redick comes out with I believe it was a tweet, and says, maybe, what's the matter? Did everybody not cooperate? He alluded to something that Doc said about the Clippers team, I guess that J.J. was on, that people didn't cooperate. If they would have cooperated better. So Redick takes a shot yesterday and says, I guess they weren't cooperating.
Didn't see that.
Little things, digs here and there on maybe Doc Rivers. My thought was, oh, wow. If they keep Harden and get rid of Rivers, does that open up a whole new Harden? And then my next thought was, wait, no. You had a great point. We would love for the players on our teams to think city first, team, or team first, city second, themselves third. It don't happen that way, right? You and I know. They're thinking of themselves first. They want to look good. They want to look great. They want to get paid, all of that. James Harden, for anybody thinking this, didn't go out there in games 6 and 7 and poop the bed because it was revenge on Doc Rivers. Because it doesn't look like that. It just looks like James Harden sucked.
So why would I want you making a decision based on that?
Exactly.
Yeah. I even saw something from Rasheed Wallace, who was with Boston at the tail end of his career, where Doc was still there. And it was with Worldwide Web, the guy who does all the the clips and stuff. And he was talking to Rasheed, and Rasheed was like, yeah, you kind of just lose it for Doc after a while. It was like, he sat back there and was like, what's going on here? And so, yeah, it's a pile on. And again, I am not the biggest Doc Rivers supporter. My point was I didn't think he did all that terribly in this series where it warranted where we are talking about it in the way that we're talking about it. But, yeah, hearing that report, this is huge because, look, the draft, as we talked about, is in a month. The lottery is tonight, Bob.
Yes.
And these things, especially when these teams get the order tonight, then we start the shape of, all right, well, where's this team going to go? What are they going to do? Could this be a trade possibility? If so, does player X go here? But is it going to be based on coach and things of that nature? So, yeah, I thought it was very interesting and something that I figured you would be interested in, the callers and the listeners and, would be interested in discussing because I am not basing anything on what James Harden has to say for that.
No, it's the first. It's not a bomb, but first shoe to drop.
Sure.
There's doubts among all player about the coach. Somebody else has to chime in that used to play for him. I forget who I talked to in the league. I don't think it was Reddick. But I talked to somebody that played for Doc before, and they said, look, his offense is really hard on the guards. It's a very guard-oriented offense where he is.
Reddick.
What's that?
It was Reddick.
Yeah, okay.
I remember you talking about this before, how it's like really, really tough on the point guard.
Yeah, and you see the way he's on Maxey all the time. And we saw which I thought was pretty cool. We saw the training camp thing where he's having the one-on-one conversation with Harden. He was mic'd up.
That's what he said. This is not a democracy.
Exactly.
Right.
So all coaches aren't going to be liked. We understand that. But when a season ends the way it did, for this shoe to drop less than 24 hours after the season is over, yeah, okay, here it comes. Something's going to happen. Now, we don't want you to call in and be like, yeah, get rid of them both. Who cares? Give us a reason. Give us what your moves would be. We see that maybe some of these players, past and current, might not be on board with Doc. Or maybe Doc's okay, and the players that aren't on board, it's on them. Joel Embiid gave him a glowing endorsement yesterday, or the day before, and said, yeah, I'm a 1,000% Doc guy.
Hey, he said the same thing about Brett.
Well,
yeah.
he was.
And I'm not. And I'm just pointing out he might have been all in on Brett, but I don't get the sense that Joel Embiid's ever going to be that guy.
But here, you're right.
To come out
Yeah.
after a loss and kind of throw the, I don't want to say throw the coach on the bus, but question whether this is the guy. Because when he kind of put his faith in Brett, it was after they just got swept, and it was like, what, dude, really, dude? You're gonna back that? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be controversial with a coach. It just doesn't seem to be his nature. But this James Harden stuff, as far as Doc Rivers goes, it's got you thinking.
And the key part of it is because Harden is like a pick or choose, as Ramona Shelburne said. And you're talking about not another discount. You're talking 4 years, and he's going to want big money.
Oh, yeah.
And we just saw that in the final 2 games.
Yeah.
So you gotta weigh that in there.
Didn't help himself.
No, he did not.
610-632-0975. Give us a call. Let us know. What do you think? Where should they go? What about this situation? So much to talk about with the Sixers. Coming up, I want to talk about the city, where we've been as a sports franchise. Pat wears it on his sleeve. I love it. But it hasn't been all that great lately. Or has it? We take a look at that and a whole lot more here on the John Kincade
Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Much of our ire goes to the 76ers, and rightfully so over the last couple of days. I got to tell you, and I'm going to talk about it more later, I am so pissed off at the Phillies right now, too.
Yeah.
But I'll get back to that in a little
They
bit.
can slide under the radar a little bit right now.
I get you can slide under the radar, but by just going out and losing games, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But something they did last night just really ticked me off. Did you get to watch any of that?
Not much, no, but I did see.
9:45 start. I watched 3 innings.
Yeah.
They were down 6. I saw all the. They were down 6-2 when I went to bed, I think. But Pat, you'll be proud of me. You know what I watched an awful lot of last night?
I don't.
Stars and Kraken.
Okay.
I did. Game 7.
I believe you.
Down in Dallas.
I didn't say you were a liar.
Yeah, not a bad game. Low scoring game. 2-1.
Wyatt Johnson getting it done.
Wyatt Johnston got it done.
Horrible goal.
Yeah, he's only 20 years old, that kid, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
great
bad- you
hands
can't-
on him.
Can't give up that goal.
That's a long outlet pass, kind of a semi breakaway. Great move.
Yeah.
Goes over his shoulder.
Stars are my cup pick.
Oh, were they really?
Oh, they've been my cup pick for a while, for like most of the regular season.
Does anybody else get like pissed off that we're in the hockey situation that we're in, and you watch the playoffs and you see the Kraken in there, you see the Golden Knights in there, teams that were just developed over the last few years.
The Kraken,
and the Flyers haven't been there for 50.
Kraken more so than the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights were put in such a fortuitous situation.
They kind of were, yeah.
The way that the expansion draft had worked out, they really finagled the system, and that's a credit to them. And they tried to fix that with the Kraken, so the Kraken didn't have the advantages that the Golden Knights did, and they were still able to build a pretty damn good team. So, Kraken more so than the Golden Knights. But yeah, it's
It's pretty
sports.
pathetic.
Sports suck.
Yeah, sports, you're broken. I feel bad for you. So Ramona Shelbourne does come out with, we'll play it again a little bit later, but she comes out with a kind of, is this in a good nutshell here, Devon? Either Harden or Doc or neither. Fair enough?
Yeah.
There no chances that Harden and Doc are back on this team next year.
Very slim.
Yeah.
Very slim. You want a percentage point?
No, very slim sounds pretty good to me.
How about you? What do you think? I would.
Yeah,
I'd say
I don't-
very slim.
Yeah, when the first shoe drops like that, that's not going to last.
Yeah.
No, so I can't see them giving Harden a 4-year contract after what he did in these playoffs.
And even though Daryl Morey is his guy, you can't.
I don't think you can. No, and so they got a lot of work cut out for him. No question.
Is anyone giving him a 4-year contract? I ask this seriously because it's not like he's the James Harden of old.
No, does Houston?
Who's giving him a max contract?
I mean, Houston's got
They've got cap space, but would they?
cap space. They got draft picks.
I mean, like,
I don't know.
But even then, if I'm Houston, I'm not like dying to give that guy a max contract.
No, I don't think so either.
He still plays at a high level, but it's not like he's at the point of being a max player. And if the rumors are true that he desperately wants to go back to Houston, all right, well then take a hometown discount.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm Houston, it's kind of my mindset here.
I mean, his numbers still show well. You're talking about 20 points and a guy that led the league in assists.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm getting at. Like, I'm not downplaying what he was able to do last year, but to say he's a max player at this point in his career, I don't think it's probably accurate.
No, I don't think so either.
So I don't think it's just a foregone, like, all right, 4 years, max money for James Harden. I think he probably has to look himself in the mirror a little bit and realize he's not that. Plus, this is the first time he's going to be negotiating with an agent.
Right.
Because he hasn't
Always been himself.
Yeah, because he was always a max player. So it seems like him hiring an agent kind of tells you that he realizes he's not a max player
Well,
anymore.
here's the other part. The fact that he took the discount last summer with the belief that this summer you recoup that back here. And was that some sort of, hey, we wink, wink, we got it, all of that.
And if there's a wink, wink, Daryl Morey's the wink, wink guy.
And he's just going to hold him to it.
Could be. So that's why he's putting out there, get rid of Doc. Yeah. I'm staying. You already know we did the wink, wink handshake
No
behind the
matter what.
scenes. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah. This is going to play out in a strange way. Lamar in West Philly wants to talk about it. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Lamar?
Hey, what's up, man? Good morning, y'all. Good morning, Divine.
Morning, man.
I just want to talk about. I just really think that Harden needs to leave, Doc needs to leave, and Embiid needs to stay. And Pat, what you said earlier about Embiid not throwing nobody under the bus, he definitely just threw his whole team up under the bus the other day. So I definitely think he could throw the coach under the bus too. He's just a weak guy. He's a great player, but he's a weak guy, man. But I really think that they both need to leave. And Tobias Harris, if we can get like a deal where Harden and Tobias Harris leave, that would be good. Because they're just not producing, man.
I hear you, Lamar, and thanks for the call. But what do you? I don't know if Lamar was suggesting you try to package Tobias and okay. Who's going to take on $1 trillion for those two players? Houston. You know. All right, have at it. Let's go, Houston. What are you getting back from them? But it's interesting. I don't know. You know, there was going to be a lot of talk of how this goes about now.
Of course.
And the first two guys it centers on is James Harden and Doc Rivers. So the fact that the first shoe to drop, like I said before, was indeed that, all right, it shouldn't be surprising. I thought it was kind of quick, but it shouldn't be surprising.
You thought it was quick?
Well, it was less than 24 hours that Ramona Shelboard saying behind the scenes, James Harden saying me or Doc, essentially.
Yeah, I expected something early, and so that's why I'm saying I wasn't all that surprised by it.
Okay, fair enough.
I wasn't all that surprised by it. Yes, it is quick, but just seeing it, kind of paying attention to how he operates, James Harden, and what he has going on, how quickly he wants to establish some things. The stuff that you would hear about how he has a big hold on the organization because of what he did last summer. The fact that he does in fact have the relationship with Daryl Morey, who's going to make that decision. Sure, I didn't. Yeah, and you already knew that 3 years in, Doc Rivers' 2 second-round exits, that this was going to start to come out there, not just with the fans, but maybe with the players also. And I'm not saying Tyrese Maxey or even Shake Milton or somebody like that, Montrezl Harrell. No, with the 2 stars, and that's how it goes. And the thing I remember when Joel, before James got here, and he and Daryl Morey developed this bond, this friendship, and this working relationship. And one of the things that Daryl Morey talked about was, I wish I would have paid more attention to Ben Simmons and developed that relationship also. And I wonder how Morey and Embiid are right now, especially knowing that Harden is that piece, and knowing also what Embiid said the other day after the game, how me and James can't do it by ourselves and all that. Is he all the way locked in on James Harden?
It's going to be a wild offseason. I just think it's going to be a wild offseason. 6 o'clock hour. It's brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White is here for the pro. All right. When we look overall in this city at sports, you would think it's a pretty good time. Now, I remember, I think it was 2019, Anthony said, man, we got the Roaring 20s coming up. And at the time, it might have been a little before 19, because at the time, you thought it was Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid moving forward. You thought it was Carson Wentz with the Eagles moving forward. All of these different things. Now it's moved forward into what I would consider a pretty good Roaring 20s, just with different principles that we're working with. But has this been a good sports time? Now, Pat, I know your reaction is going to be no now because of what happened on Sunday. But we do have to look at a World Series, a Super Bowl, an MLS championship, a contending team in the NBA, although they've lost in the second round, but one that gives you hope throughout a season that it could change and is kind of on the precipice of perhaps doing that. Because we can't forget, the Sixers, if they would have won a Game 6 at home, like if you break it down, they were close again. And it sucks, I know, but I mean, they were that close. You had to win one quarter on your home court.
That's it.
And you couldn't do it.
Yep.
So is this a good time for the city as far as sports goes? Or is it even worse because we've accelerated, the teams, have accelerated to that standard but have not gotten over the hump?
I still think it's a good time. Look, you had the other three, including the Union, of course, that were in their championship round. It's a good time, especially if you think they can get back. The Eagles, we look at them, we think they have the best record in the NFL. That's fine. The Phillies, they may frustrate you from last night, and you'll get to what you want to talk about. But guess what? You know, when they start rolling again, you're like, hey, I think this team might be able to do something if they get into the postseason. And the Sixers, as you said, it may take that one move, whatever that move is, coach, player, multiple players, that's going to have you right back in there and saying, you know what, this team is good again. And they're going to be a second-round team. While you may not care about the regular season, they're going to win 50 games again and be right there back in the mix. You're still in a good spot. You're in a good spot, though, with some frustration that goes with it. And that's the point. You're frustrated because you know they were good. And that's why you're still in a good spot.
The frustration's higher because you had a chance to reach those levels.
Yes. And this one, you also thought would get right back where the Phillies and the Eagles and the Union were because the path was there. Things opened up. Milwaukee being knocked out. You being better than the West teams. Whether you felt like Los Angeles and Denver playing better than you right now, they still have to come through here to start the NBA Finals. So, yeah, you're still in a good spot. It's just frustrating. It's maddening of how it ended with all of them. And now you add this one as the Sixers. Oh, they're going to be the one that might break through. And we see something different in them. And we see the same result at the end.
Yeah. But you're probably going to be the counter to that a little bit?
It's like the Hindenburg. I mean, 99% of that was fine until they tried to land. And that's what I feel like Philly sports is. You know, the 99% of the journey was great. It was fun. It was.
But when you're on the journey, you don't know it's going to end like that.
You don't. And it's a wild ride, and it's. But then it ends like that, and it's. I mean, imagine taking that a few times, and that's the problem. Is like this whole 365 days has been that. It's been. You get close to the finish line, and then you get kicked. All right, that's fine. All right, we'll regroup. And then you do it again. All right, it's fine. Hey, and then a third time, and then a fourth time, and then a fifth time. So, maybe I mean I know some people are just numb to it at this point, but it's it's probably taking a toll. It was the journey fun, yeah, but eventually you arrive, and it's a lot like Wally World and Christmas Vacation.
It's closed. You get there and it's closed.
It's closed for 2 weeks, and you're like, what the hell's the point? You know, I was promised roller coasters and stuff. And instead, now I got my dad holding the security guard at gunpoint. That's no fun. Again, that's no fun.
Hey, I know when spring is coming, when the Masters is played, baseball starts, the end of the NCAA tournament. I know that summer's coming. You know, when the NBA finals get here, all that's like that. That's what rules my day. So this happens on Sunday, and you talked about it yesterday. Boom, the finality is right here. And for those wondering out there, also, real quick side note, usually the Sixers have a getaway or a getaway from the season day where the coach speaks, maybe the GM speaks. You get to talk to all the players. For the years I was covering it, it came the day after the season was over, maybe 2 days after, and you would get all those interviews. Sixers didn't do that yesterday. They're not doing it today. They're doing a Zoom conference with Shake Milton and B-Ball Paul Reed. So read into that what you will. But calendar year moving on, Devon. How do you move on? How do you move on sports-wise right now?
And that's going to be July. So I know that that's coming, as you said. Looking at the calendar, that's how I'm judging things based on knowing that free agency is going to get underway on June 30th, July 1st, right there. With that, Summer League follows. And when Summer League follows, you already know you're in the middle of July. And once that starts to go away, then that's when you start to really pay attention to, obviously, the Phillies are going to be in the forefront there, too.
Right.
All-Star break. And then once you get into August, that's where the Eagles really start to ramp it up with all the training camp and everything. So that's how I kind of look at it. You know, still heavy basketball. Sixers not in it anymore, but you have those things that are there.
Pat, you jumped to something else right away. Is it? I know you say you want to take a lull from basketball, but sports-wise, how does your calendar move on after this?
Probably take a week off and just kind of decompress, not watch anything. I need a break, and then I'll slowly get back into it with baseball and that'll kind of carry me through the dog days, and I'll be all right.
I must have like a small Insperity. This report is sponsored by Insperity. Insperity, providing scalable HR solutions, access to better benefits, HR technology, and payroll for over 35 years. Insperity, HR that makes a difference. So the Phillies lose their second straight last night, 6-3 in San Francisco. We're going to get into that a little bit more later because, quite frankly, they're on my nerves a little bit, Devon. And it's not easy to get on my nerves, as you know, especially when it comes to sports teams. But the Sixers broke our hearts on Sunday.
They did.
And then you turn your attention to the Phillies last night, and what I saw just completely ticks me off. This is the John Kincade Show here at 97.5 The Fanatic.
Home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show, Bob Cooney, Devon Givens, Pat Egan, Coach Eric Camille getting it done today as John recovers in the hospital after surgery yesterday. All seems good with him. So thank you for all the thoughts and prayers going his way on behalf of the Kincade family.
Great comeback music right there.
Yes, that's not bad, right?
Run DMC. You be illin', James Harden, trying to make a power play here on Doc Rivers.
I like that.
See, again, it makes it seem like I'm wearing a Doc Rivers jersey, but I'm not. I just don't like
if you
how
have to keep explaining yourself, Pat, what do you think? I think he is wearing a number 25 Doc Rivers jersey.
But I like that team from afar. You just
there's teams that are entertaining to watch back then.
I like watching them.
They played in the Omni.
Yep.
Yeah, never liked that arena.
No?
No, I didn't like I didn't like the looks of the Omni.
I like the Omni from obviously watching from television, but never been there. So
no, I was never in the Omni. What is it? Phillips Arena is attached to the CNN Center.
Right.
Yeah, so did a couple tours of when I was on the beat, did CNN a couple of times.
Were there teams that you admired from afar growing up that you were just like, I like how they play?
Well, people hate me for this.
But there's not the Boston part. I already know that.
Yeah, that particular player I enjoyed watching. Showtime and the Lakers growing up, that was just cool and different. Yeah, good teams just always got me. I loved watching good teams and players that played, Larry Brown, just played the way that I understood.
Yes.
I loved watching Dr. J and all that stuff. I knew that was unreal in my life. That's why Maurice Cheeks is my favorite player of all time. Because, he was the everyman to me.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, so, of course, I have a little bit of a different era.
Get on board with Mike Bibby? Because I couldn't stand when I was a little kid watching his father Henry play. I hated him with a passion. And I don't say that.
Mike was good.
I'm talking about a 10-year-old kid. I hated Henry Bibby. And my parents used to get on me all the time because every time he'd come out, my dad would, I know, you hate Henry Bibby. And then one day he's like, do you know what college you went to? And I was like, no. UCLA. So, that's how great he is. And I was like, I don't care. I hate him.
Okay.
I did. I just hated Henry Bibby.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Okay.
No idea. But we had some... Basketball was, not that it's not great now, but it was pretty cool when we were growing up.
Of course.
Because you had so many different types of players.
Types of players, the different types of...
Basketball with this, but I couldn't really think of a team.
I like the Houston Oilers growing up as
Did you really? Earl Campbell?
No, it was the Warren Moon.
Oh, okay.
Ernest Givens, those teams. A lot of it was a black quarterback, but it was also the run and shoot offense that they had.
God, he had an arm. Warren Moon had such a good arm.
I love the
Eddie George when he got there.
The Moneyball A's. Was a big fan of that team.
What was it?
And the movie, completely ignores the fact they had, incredible pitching staff.
Right.
And, the MVP of the league in Miguel Tejada. But, you had Ramon Hernandez, Miguel Tejada, Eric Chavez, Terrence Long, the pitching staff. Yeah, they